Hi guys, and welcome to this week's ACCA, where we're trying to make some profits to pay for all of our bets for the entire season, week in, week out, all 38 game weeks, to see whether we can cover all of our bets with a 5-match accumulator. I think it might be possible. We've got a few rules that will enable us to do this. The first one, I'm going to be using Paddy Power, and we're going to be using their insurance back guarantee scenario where you bet 5 times, and if one of them lets you down, you get your stake back. Okay, so not all is lost. It's a nice little benefit there. The second thing, as I say, five teams where the odds need to be 50-1 minimum without being ridiculous, so we actually have a chance. We know 50-1 is a bit of a long shot anyway, but that is how we're going to cover all of our game weeks if we get one that comes through. But you never know, we might get a couple over the season, which would be Brucey bonus. Okay, the other thing is, obviously we're going to have a flavour of the Premier League, but we're not going to restrain ourselves to that. We're going to be going through some of the other leagues just to mix it up. So let's look at what happened last week in the first failure. We had 2 of our 5 matches came through, with Everton against Southampton, and we had Leicester against Wolves, where we got the wins. Whereas we chose West Ham against Bournemouth. They completely capitulated. Terrible. West Ham have had a really poor start. Then we saw Frank Lampard's Derby lose to Millwall. I mean, he is possibly, I hate to say it, just a couple of matches away from, going. But we'll have to wait and see. I hope he can turn it around. Big fan of Frankie Lampard. And then we went for Nottingham Forest against Wigan. I kind of had thoughts that Nottingham Forest would do very, very well, but Wigan have come up, and they are, they're looking really good actually. They surprised me, so that was a defunct bet. But fortunately, I had a secondary bet which was Lucas Moura to score any time for Tottenham against Fulham, which saved the bacon of that week as a little bit of an extra, but not, doesn't help us out in this 38 game week scenario. So let's move on to what we're going to do this week to try and get a first big win this season. So I'm actually going to start with the obvious one. I'm going to go with City against Wolves. I can't see anything other than a big victory. I'm actually going to go for 5 away victories, which makes this even more unlikely. But, we'll have to wait and see, because as I say, odds are around 50-1, So we're going to go with City against Wolves. They're actually on a tear up. I think City, they're going to win the league by a mile again. They look so strong in all departments, and you think De Bruyne's out, Sterling hasn't got going yet, Jesus hasn't got going yet. These guys, once they get going, they're absolutely going to go on a tear up, and it's going to be, you're going to struggle to see them lose. So even though the odds are 1-4, which is nonsense, we're going to go with that. The second one is, which I think is probably my most riskiest one, is I'm going with Everton against Bournemouth. Now, Everton have started well, but, they're not the superstars. So the fact is they could easily, they trip them up and be exposed for the team that's going to finish 7th or 8th this season. But we're going to go for them because they are the form team. Having said that, Bournemouth have started well. Callum Wilson, one of my favourite players in the lower-ish ranked Premier League teams. I think he has the potential to play for bigger teams and possibly international honours. Okay, so we're going to go for them. Then we're also going to go for Leicester. Again, a bit of a tricky one, because obviously Jamie Vardy is suspended. In my secondary fantasy team, I had Jamie Vardy as captain last week. What a mistake. What a mistake there. But anyway, Iheanacho can come in. We know what a beast he can be. So that's it. 3 teams from the Premier League. And, that is giving us odds of just 10-1. But, that's the basis. We're then going to add 2 more matches from outside the Premier League that will get us up to that magical moment and hopefully get us the returns. So I'm actually going to go for a team that I went against last week. And of course, that's Wigan. We got QPR at home to Wigan. Now, QPR are in turmoil. I mean, they're going to struggle to maintain their standing within the Championship this season. Steve McLaren, he is going to struggle to hold on to his job, I would have thought. They got absolutely spanked last week. And I think Wigan, they've got that form and that run, and they've got some really interesting players. We bring that match in, we're up to 23-1, which is really, really cool. And then we're gonna complement those 4 matches with our 5th one with a team that's on a massive tear up, and that is Pompey. They're away to Doncaster. Can be a bit of a tricky one, but as I say, they are on a massive run of wins. You can see Portsmouth here. What does it say? 5 on the spin. The results you can see: away to Bristol Rovers, home to Oxford, away to Blackpool, and home to Luton Town. They are performing very, very well. They look like one of the favourites. So for me, against Doncaster, 7-4, fantastic odds. Really fancy that. And this gives me an accumulator odds of 66.8. This is one of my most confident accumulators I have had for a very, very long time. So I'm going for this. I fingers crossed that we're going to be able to, cover, all of the other stakes for the rest of this season. So come back next week and see how we did. And remember to check out my fantasy game week previews. See you later.